Hi guys, thanks for joining us, especially at a time when there are so many Instagram lives. We're definitely not bridging any new ground here. Tonight we want to primarily talk about our new website. The website is Subversive Fitness. What we've put on there is our remote development resource. We've been around for a long time now. Wolf Brigade's been around for 12 years, and I've trained people for 5 or 6 years longer than that. That entire time, the notion of making some sort of online program has been there, but it just never really made a lot of sense to me for many reasons. But we eventually figured it out, kind of percolated on it for the last couple of years, and just wanted to thank a handful of people that kind of gave us some good feedback, pushes in the right direction. One sneaky one was Omid from Breaking Muscle, who gave us a platform for the Subversive Fitness on the Breaking Muscle site a couple of years ago. He put a backlog of our training up, and people responded really well to it. I didn't want to just put that out there forever. We wanted to actually have some sort of sensible barrier to entry, and also replicate the foundational fundamentals process that we use here in our place in Rochester. So we finally figured out how to do that, and then now we're really pleased with the site that we've put out. The way it works is this: it's built in phases. Phase 1 is essentially just practice, refinement, demonstration. What we expect people to do is look through our warm-up list. Our daily warm-up is challenging, it's thorough, it covers the main movement patterns, and it lets us assess how people are moving and help them move better or make adjustments in order to get through the training day progressively and also safely. So what we expect for phase 1 of this new project is people filming themselves, start having a YouTube channel, or even one with a private with a password or something that we have. And once they film that list, we'll make some adjustments. One of the values of this thing, and the reason that it's much more of a platform than just a program, is that there's going to be interaction with our instructors forever. The 2 directors will be Matt from Toronto and Heather from here. They'll be primarily communicating with you guys, and some of our other instructors will be on there too to communicate and just interact and kind of commiserate. Once we have gotten people through phase 1, organized, safe, doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be usable, workable. Then phase 2 is where the meat and potatoes is. That's where our daily training is going to be posted. And the way that we've done that is we took the end of last year, and then from the beginning of this year on, we're going to post a week at a time, and the phase 2 groups will have access to exactly what we did here. So it's proven training. We know exactly what we needed to adjust and either omit or add. And the other thing that'll be on there is some peripheral programs, some accessory stuff. We have a short mace program, also something called violence insulation that's just more martial movement patterns, strategies that'll transfer really well to fighting, and those things are on there. So there's already a ton of information on there. There's going to be a ton more, and it's just a really interesting way, I believe, to get people training under a progress method, but not having necessarily a gym to anchor them. We've looked through and purchased and participated in lots and lots of programs over the years. A lot of times just as fact-finding. We want to know what we don't know. And the plug-and-play nature of online training or whatever you want to call it is not ideal. If you don't know how someone is moving, it's really difficult to properly apply a program to them. If someone is not squatting to depth, they're wearing a belt, their head is at the ceiling, you don't even really know if it's a squat. You don't really know how to accessorize that thing. You don't know how to load it. You don't know how to adjust it. If the press is a mess, if people are pulling wrong, you have to know those things in order to improve them. So part of what phase 1 will do is allow us to adjust people so that we can improve them. So anyway, if you have questions about the remote development, please ask them here. We've got a few questions in the boxes, and we'll get on to those in just a minute. We want it to be a little bit of a tourism deterrent, same as our place in Rochester. The way that we do intro training here is we go through our curriculum priorities list. No matter what level anybody is at, they come in, they practice that list, we make some adjustments, they improve, and some come in skeptical, but they all leave grateful. If they come in skeptical and they're progress-minded people, they enjoy the curriculum priorities. They value the time that we spend with them, and they value the benefits that it gives them to move into the primary training. We're hoping that that's what phase 1 will be on the website as well. The people that, I guess, train exclusively for the ego boost, if they train exclusively for that particular adrenaline rush, if they're distracted by shiny things, it may not be the best fit for them. But for others that actually understand kind of a lifelong linear progression and are willing to put some work in, those that actually care, never mind proving that they care. So that's what we're looking for. If you have any further questions on that, I'll be sitting here talking to myself for the next 45 minutes. So please ask them. Let's get a couple of questions, and then we'll come back to the next couple of topics. Good question from Dave right off the bat. Any plans to develop Subversive Fitness into an app? Yeah, thank you. We wanted to get our feet wet with the site. It looks great on the site. It functions well on mobile. It functions well on the computer. And the evolutionary process there will be to make an app. It has to make money first. We have a bad habit. When I say we, I mean I have a bad habit of since I was a kid, running businesses and never prioritizing money at all, and ending up getting cut short and basically just end up inconveniencing myself. The projects continue, but I end up challenged. So with this one, before we get upside down on an app, we'll make sure that we have people in there that can fuel that. But that's a great question, and the answer is yes. Something from Jim. Thank you, Jim. I'm glad you're in there already, man. We can't wait. Question: how can we help promote this? Yeah, well, so that's nice. Thank you. We did not pay Jim to endorse us. How can you help promote it? Well, I guess if there was something that I felt we underutilized, it's the fact that we know if we ask you guys to help, you will. This is that time. Now that we have something tangible that people can kind of latch onto and use on a permanent, semi-permanent basis, now's the time to start disseminating that information. The people remotely that are willing to invest and put some details into this thing are going to progress to phenomenal levels. I mean, we've trained and developed extremely talented, proficient people remotely. And that's basically just the fact that we know how to do it so well in person that we can translate those same details remotely. If someone is an amateur to intermediate trainer in person, when you start putting that information into digital format or text format or emails or anything like that, it's just going to dilute it even further. So we would never want to fall into that category. So now, how can you help us share? Just help us share. If you like what you see, pass it on. Put the link in your bio. Send your friends the thing. If you have friends that have been either flirting with training or doing training but doing it maybe poorly or a little bit questionably, or even if you think that they could just use some good adjustments that are going to help them improve and enjoy what they're doing, that's how you can help us. and we know you will, and we appreciate that. Yes, guy. I'm going to scroll back a second, then we missed it. Luke asked about convergence. We're going to come back to convergence at the end. We will remember, Luke. Don't worry. And yes, there is a spot for you. Looks like we have a question from Chris. My question is, can I scale the public assistance to my children? Absolutely. If so, how can we? Obviously, thank you. Thank you very much. We work hard on the text aspects of what we do as well as the physical aspects. The physical aspects are the easy part. You've got to be able to articulate what people are doing and why. And the cool thing about public assistance is there's not going to be much scaling, man. So if you can find something small for them to hold on to, that's really all it's going to take. There's nothing on there that needs scaling. It's all fundamental movement patterns. It's very, very difficult. I mean, we've started to have people that are repeating the project, and all they're really doing is adding 5 pounds. So if they were using a 15-pound dumbbell or a 20-pound dumbbell, when they revisit for the next month and then the subsequent phase of testing and demonstration, they just add 5 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever the case is. You will make progress forever with that extremely simple but almost sadistic little program if you add weight. Progressive overload just builds strength. That's all there is to it. So with your kids, though, to kind of reverse that, just give them something tiny to hold on to. 2-pound dumbbell, 1-pound dumbbell. It doesn't matter what they're holding on to. They can do the same shapes and the same patterns. And the sad thing is they'll definitely do them better than we will because they haven't been broken by sitting for years and years yet. If you need any additional help on that, please contact Heather or Matt from our place. They've both trained extensively with public assistance, and then Heather's trained an awful lot with kids. So they'll be able to help with that. And great question. Thank you. Showing back, thank you. James, what are our usual clients? What do you see as the specific benefits of your type of training, and what specific philosophy drives your organization? Those are 3 giant questions. Our usual clients are everyone. We train professional athletes, we train absolute beginners, and we love both, and we do both extremely well. And they're extremely similar. Higher level athletes require less work and just more strategy. More beginners, it's just a little bit more diagnosis and fixing and making little strategic adjustments to help them get where they want to get. But one without the other is a half-empty glass. If all you do is train high-level athletes, then you are missing an entire field of view. And if all you do is train beginners and you've never had your hands on anybody that's already got it, there's a D value there too. So we train everybody. If people's minds are right and they want to work hard, we will train anyone that walks the earth, and we have for a very long time. The benefits of our type of training are there's too many to list, man. Well-performed generalist training translates to everything, and we're at the top of the food chain with that. The mindset component, the details that we add to the game, the posts that we made about this new project, there were 3 of them that went up yesterday. I would encourage you to read them. It tells a little bit more about the questions you asked. The specific philosophy that drives our organization. I don't think there's necessarily one specific philosophy that drives the organization. We're just a progress-minded strength and conditioning place with a ton of experience that does not fall into the usual categories of fitness. So we often get overlooked. And I think part of that is just the fact that a lot of people in a lot of places with a ton more notoriety than us still have 10 or 15 years of catching up to do, and that's probably a bitter pill to swallow. But that's how it goes. Good question. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and the public assistance project, the other nice thing about it is anyone that's already been on it already knows this, but it's so infinitely portable. I mean, you can take one tool and that training and perform it in any circumstances, any climate, anywhere. We've had people send us the most bananas pictures of where they're doing this training, and it's still progressive. We've had some extremely brutal people get even more brutal with just that program as an accessory. So thank you. Good questions. Yeah, Evan, thank you. Jocko putting the mace up was cool. It's nice. We get very little help. You know, our immediate group is different. You know, you guys are great and people are trying to help. But like I just mentioned, fitness at large, Strength and conditioning at large, I don't know, we get slept on because we're a little different, but that'll change. And I mean, eventually it's I don't know, we'll be the standard, and then people will be laughing at the fact that it took 12 years for them to find us. But it's nice to see once in a while. It's nice to win one occasionally. Let's get a couple more questions. If you only have 30 to 45 minutes a day to train, what would be your exercises you focus on? Well, let's remove the only, and we'll turn that into a positive piece of language. You have 45 minutes a day to train. What do you do? 45 minutes is a long time if you treat it right. The way that we recommend things is you skin a primary movement pattern. You do it a couple of times a week, and then you move on to a couple of different ones the next week. We always recommend going heavy, medium, light in your training days, which also usually translates to slow, medium, fast. So say you're going to do a deadlift in your 45 minutes. The warm-up would be suitable for the deadlift. The deadlift would be heavier, and then something like a kettlebell swing to accessorize it, and then something like mace shovels, jump rope, floor to feet, some type of jumps or lunges or something like that for the conditioning piece. If you're lifting really, really, really heavy, 45 minutes isn't enough because you need to rest a little bit differently. But the reality is 45 minutes is what you make of it. You can do an awful lot. Any of the public assistance days are about 45 minutes, and some of those things are mean, super effective. So 45 minutes is a lot of time if that's what you make it. Yeah, hello? Thanks, Gypsy. Can't wait to see you, man. Thank you. Can't wait for you to see something else too. I'm not telling you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it is simple, but it's also, it's simple in the sense that sometimes it takes years and years and years, and you're just like, oh, okay, that's how simple it is. And it's important to note, back to the remote program for a minute. Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. We're glad you found us too, and great to see you on there already. We really appreciate the people that just jumped right in here. We will earn your trust, and we will make it worth your risk. In thinking about the remote program, we've said this before, and we've gotten a little flack, but there's just no flack to be given. Strength is easy. There are irrefutable, great strength programs and protocols out there. 531, starting strength, those are ones that I've been through, practiced, recommended to a million different people. If you follow those guidelines, you will get stronger. The end. It doesn't necessarily mean your positioning is going to improve a lot. It doesn't mean necessarily that your generalist skill set is going to improve a lot, but you will be really, really strong. The pieces that we add to the puzzle are the movement pieces. Those are not quite as easy. And when I say easy, not easy. You have to work hard, but if you follow a protocol, strength is there for you. Movement, proficiency, consistency, those things are a little sneakier, and they require a little bit different strategy. So that's what we do, and that's what the remote development resource is going to specialize in. Trained 4 days a week, started following your program from 2015, noticed the work at the end of the week seems to be heavier than the beginning. Is that wrong? There's some contradictions there. If you've been actually following our program, you wouldn't ever see the heaviest stuff at the end of the week. It's just not how we've ever done it, not how we would ever do it. But it's not necessarily wrong. It's just not the way we do it. We think about tax first, what demands the most, and then systematically assassinate the rest. So if we know that deadlifting or heavy squatting or heavy pressing or heavy bench press is going to require the most physically, neurologically, which it does, that's earlier in the week, and then things move down. There's still heavy things throughout the week. But you're never going to find our absolutely heaviest efforts on Friday or Saturday, because if people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, there is a fatigue element that has to be accounted for. So no, not wrong, just not exactly what we do, and I'd recommend maybe trying it the other way and seeing if you like it better. Thanks, yeah, thanks, Gypsy man. There's going to be some fun stuff in there too, and hey, Jim, and we're going to keep putting more stuff in, and the one thing that I think is going to be valuable and something that I'll enjoy too is there's a way to put just videos for the group the participating group in there. That'll be fun for me. We give away, a lot. So it'll be nice to have some proprietary stuff that people can kind of, feel is theirs and apply accordingly. Additionally, decent time for this. We just put another 30-something videos in our movement library for free. Some of the more interesting stuff. We asked Matt from Atlantic Avenue Athletic Club in Toronto to help us with a list. He went through everything, found anything we had missed, and we filmed it and put it up this weekend. So there's a little bit more unconventional stuff in there, some tumbling stuff, a little more martial arts oriented movement stuff, and we hope you enjoy that. So please take a look and please share that too. It doesn't make us any money, but it's valuable, and the better people move, the easier they're going to be to transition into what we're doing. Thanks. Yeah, same questions on equipment facilities. Well, so to participate hey, Chad, to participate in the primary program in phase 2, there's equipment requirements. There would have to be. Public assistance is anything, anywhere, anyhow. If you have 5 different tools, they're going to give you 5 different stimulus. Use them as much as you want. With the primary program, there are equipment requirements, but the other thing is, that's one of the values is we're going to be able to help you scale anything you need to anything you have. We're good at that. We do that all the time anyway. If someone has a movement inconsistency, if someone's, an injury or something precludes them from using one particular tool, as long as we're prioritizing the movement pattern and the energy system, we could switch them to a different tool and still accomplish the goals we're looking for. We'll be able to help people do that through that remote development resource as well. So, of course, there are equipment requirements, but they're still minimal, and totally we can help anyone get around almost anything. We have done that for a very long time. We have people that train by themselves with almost nothing always, and they're fucking animals. It's incredible. New to us, resonates. Thank you. Thank you. Glad you found us. A reading list. We don't have a printed reading list. If you want to get in touch directly, some of the people here have a lot of great recommendations. Our friend Ben from Pitch Black Forge has always got great books up on his, and a lot of our people are avid readers. I'm a reader. I wouldn't consider myself an avid reader right now, and I'm not gonna sit here and ad lib like I've been reading 100 books a month for the last 5 years. But the basics are always the basics. The stuff that we read and the philosophies that we have are built on just a lifetime of counterculture. The things I read and the music that we've been involved with and the scenes that we've helped build and cultivate, it's all gone into our philosophy now. The fact that we're really, really good at training people in physical realms is kind of unusual, because there is no way that it could have ever been predicted this is where we would end up. But it's great, and it actually fits, which is cool. Physical culture, self-defense, philosophy, social, yeah, yes, yep. That's all true. I don't know what the question mark is for, but those are all the things that we're interested in. Thank you. Oh yeah, well, CrossFit is always stolen from me. I don't really want to talk too much about them now, but the nice thing about CrossFit is that they know they're doing that. They've been asleep at the wheel for 15 years. They started out great, got too big for their britches, stopped making progress, and I never did. I came up in the earlier days of that organization. We had CrossFit Long Beach out in California from 2003 to 2008. And that was a great learning experience, but even then we didn't do plug and play CrossFit because it was fucking stupid. And it has not improved. And the athletes that compete, the phenomenal, outstanding, world-class athletes that compete in their games don't do CrossFit. They do something that looks a lot more like what we do. Anyway, when they fucked with public assistance and they had people that were intentionally looking awful, moving poorly, in Married with Children TV set from the 70s, I knew that we had gotten under their skin in the right way. They pulled that shit right down. Also, let's see what we got. Oh, there's Ben right there. Hey, Ben. Take on programs that aim at emptying the tank completely and regularly. Yeah, so that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, strategy builds capacity. Attrition builds a certain type of capacity, but strategy builds supreme capacity. Self-annihilation has a place, but it's occasional, purposeful, and goal dependent. If you're putting yourself in the ground every single day with not a ton of strategy to it, yes, you're getting tired. You might be getting a little stronger, but you're not improving as much as you could if you addressed some details differently. Maybe checked a few different boxes as far as positioning, breathing, bracing, really, really specific rest. It's just different, and it's different for a reason. There's a value to getting tired, and there's a really big value to check out and go. But check out and go happens in really simple conditioning pieces. It happens with things like Aerodyne sprints. It happens with things like short jump rope circuits, holding your breath in between the sets of jump rope. It happens with things like tall slam ball, low risk, high reward stuff that you can just check out and go. You're still building that same capacity. You're still building that power endurance and cardiovascular endurance, but you're just lowering the risk. So I guess my take on kind of beat down programs that just kind of pull a bunch of stuff out of a hopper, put it together, get people really tired and think they've gotten them somewhere. There's just a better way. That's all there is to it. That's a good question, though. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, man. Of course, we agree with you. We're very fortunate to find Matt. Would you say we're like an early Jim Jones before they went? Well, I mean, they didn't go corporate and bullshit. They had some shakeups in the upper management, and to be totally honest, I mean, we don't align with them philosophically 100%, but they did a great job of pulling themselves up by the bootstraps when they got fucked over by a bunch of people. So I'm gonna deny that comparison. Philosophically, early days, some of the stuff that was written by that organization in the early days was influential to anyone that was paying attention. The fact that some of it might have been empty is a little bit of a bitter pill, but no, we are ourselves, not simply the opposite of those we dislike. Oh, there we go. We already got that one. Sorry for the duplicate. Does Wolfgate imagine the remote resource being a lifelong path? Well, I mean, of course it can be. The training is going to be put up every week forever, just as it is here. That never ends. If people enjoy details and they understand the notion of little tiny pieces of progress forever, like a global linear progression. So if one thing levels out, something else will pick up the slack, and then everything else will ebb and flow. That's just a matter of having enough tools in the toolbox, but enough similar tools to actually let it do that. So we have people that are still progressing in our program that have been training in our facility for 10 years. And that's not because they started out on the limited information program or we were withholding anything. It's that when you keep addressing details and improving your craft, there's no end to progress. It's fucking impossible. Are you telling me that human beings have been 100% optimized in every position that the body makes? Fuck no. We've put stuff out in the last 6 months that we've never seen before. In terms of angling, some pressing stuff with maces, different kettlebell adjustments, and it's created insane progress for people that had already made insane progress. I've been working with a professional baseball pitcher remotely right now. And basically via email and text message, we've gotten this lifelong professional athlete who's at the top of the food chain, putting miles per hour on his pitch, using accessories like kettlebell swings and mace swings and things like that, but then also adjusting his primary lifting. He had high school lifting coach syndrome, which was everything was eyes on the sky, the heels were up. There was a lot of fundamental holes in the boat that once we adjusted them, this guy is a total animal and just loves details and has. I mean, he was nowhere near this really recently, and he squatted 300 pounds for 3 perfect reps the other day with a squat rack that he had built in his garage with some wood that he found. I mean, the amount of progress that people can make if they want it, how much they want it is the only limitation. At this point, we say with humility but confidence that we can improve any person that's walking the earth for as long as they want to. So yeah, if the program wants to be permanent, it's permanent. If you get distracted every time people put out a new fitness tool, you probably will not enjoy what we do. Yeah, a couple more equipment questions. Good questions. Hey, Abby. So guys, to the equipment side, yeah, of course, to complete the primary program, there's equipment requirements, but they're not extreme. You just need some weight. If you have weight, we can put it in a pattern that will replicate exactly what we're doing. That's really the long and short of it. And then that's part of the value too of having access to our directors and instructors. And that's that if you get stuck somewhere, or if the directive is a barbell XYZ and what you have is a mace or a kettlebell or something like that, we can plug and play something that will be close enough to be useful and relevant and progressive. And that's all there is to it. If you get a gym that allows you to go in and do your own thing that has barbells, kettlebells, and a little bit of space and a pull-up bar, you're all set. Certain things like sled drags and everything like that can be mimicked with static holds, can be mimicked with heavy lunges. Certain things like that can be mimicked with off angle loaded stuff with the mace. We can always figure out a way to skin that cat. We've been adapting things intelligently for many years, and we'd love to help with that. Desperation for a result or solution is a catalyst to innovation and success. Okay, yep, I like that. Thank you. Okay, so those were our only formal questions. If you guys have some more, keep asking them. Something else that we'll mention is maces. We've been moving some maces. Part of it is, of course, Chris, you're welcome here anytime. As long as we pre-schedule things, people are welcome to come here anytime. We strongly encourage visitors, and they always end up being glad they came. Well, almost. Thoughts on practical self-defense? Sport Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for many years and became disenchanted. Well, I mean, sport Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is still solid grappling. Self-defense and martial arts are different. I mean, it's an important discussion and probably one for a different time. They're similar and they live in the same arena, but they're definitely not the same animal. So please don't mistake them. A street fight is a mess. Anything where you've pre-agreed with an opponent to do some training or to fight or wrestle or something like that is different. I've done both, and they're both kind of nerve-wracking in a totally different way, and they don't feel the same in any sort of way. And Alec, I do agree with you. Catch wrestling is excellent because it's just a little bit simpler and meaner, and also a really effective addition to sport Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I can tell you for a fact that regular jiu-jitsu players are not expecting a lot of catch wrestling stuff, and that's with the fact that I don't move particularly great all the time. Being able to apply some of those mean tricks is a lot of value. So let's have that be the answer to that. That's a great topic for another day. We can do an entire episode on martial arts and self-defense if people would be interested in that. And thank you for the mace. Oh, you got it, Gypsy. Great. Okay. We're talking about maces. We've sold a bunch lately. If you ordered maces, thank you so much. Part of it is everybody's stuck right now. So people are trying to be resourceful now, and they're actually figuring out that there's a lot out there that they'd never thought about, that they maybe should have thought about, because these aren't just panic end times tools. These are strength and conditioning accessories that, in my opinion, we've turned the corner on and turned them into a really, really multifunctional accessory and even a primary for a lot of people for almost every application. The maces are a sneaky secret weapon. So if you're waiting for one, we've got it. It's going to take a minute because all these things are handmade. We don't sit on a ton of them because we have to pay for them up front. All this stuff, I'm not good at that. When I say that, I mean business. So if you ordered maces, be patient. They're coming. We're so happy that we haven't had to deny any orders. We're a little bit backed up, but we're pleased to be able to do that. And then Jocko putting the mace on the other day was awesome, and we definitely got some of his people. So if anybody is here from there that hasn't seen us before, welcome. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. She etches these things by hand with a Dremel tool. I mean, most of you that have been here for a minute know that, but it trips me out because I etched the first 400 or 500 maces poorly. I got okay enough where I could do stuff that looked like something, but it just looked like a fucking Rorschach test. It looked like a child's drawing. So she's gone the other direction entirely with it, and I don't even really understand it. Etching aluminum over paint with a Dremel tool is really, really uncooperative, and the fact that it happens so well, it's freaky. Better to order mace through Wolf Brigade or Rogue. Thank you. Yeah, Chad. So the reason that we primarily sell them through Rogue is so that you guys pay less for shipping. I don't know. I price myself into a corner with these things. We're fucking stupid. But through us, shipping is a lot because we're tiny. Rogue shipping it's like $15 or something like that. And that offsets the entire thing. So we recommend people go through Rogue so that you pay considerably less money. We're getting a handle on that, though. We'll switch it up. Mace packaging is not the best ever. UPS does not like us. I have to be really nice to our UPS guy, or I think he'll probably start pushing maces out the back of his truck. Thank you, guys. So no other specific questions about the remote program. We expect that at least some of you are going to go on there and look around. If you have any other questions, the 3 posts from yesterday are pretty thorough. There's a lot in there. The site itself is thorough. The manifesto is on there for free. The shoulder rock is a tinker toy. An adjustable mace where the end doesn't even stay tight is not an ideal tool for you. So you can buy our maces, you can buy other ones, but get something with a fixed head that's enough weight to be useful. We say heavy enough to be useful pretty often. A normal adult person with decent shoulder function is not going to get stronger moving a 6-pound mace. It's just not going to happen. The amount of work that you would have to do and the amount of duration you would have to hold in order to get stronger using a tiny tool like that is insurmountable. It's something no one has the time or patience for. So get a suitably heavy tool, learn how to move it properly. We have tiny people at absolutely every skill level moving 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 kilogram maces. So yeah, get a good suitable mace that actually stays together and isn't a fucking baby rattle. And from people that actually know how to teach you how to swing it. Thank you. Yeah, so once you guys get on the site, the manifesto is on there for free. There's a couple of videos that are on there that are just a little bit intro videos, and then you'll get a sense for what we're doing. And you're welcome to interact with us about it. One thing that we do ask, though, is we're a little bit too courteous with certain things. If you send us 19 questions on Instagram, they are probably not going to get answered. It's not that we don't want to answer them. It's just that we give away everything. And occasionally we have to actually prioritize like training people and trying to stay in business. So now that we have a remote development resource, please check in there, pay your money, and optimize that thing. We're happy to help, but there are limits to anyone. Yeah, good question. Good question, Alec. Yeah, we're strategizing in 18, and then we will go from there and move up from there. We could sell a good handful of 18s right now, because I mean, some people are just animals, and other people we've helped build up, and all of a sudden now the mace that years ago was this, holy grail, sword in the stone type. And thank you, Gypsy. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Is now something people are using every day. And so now we have to advance. So, it's stimulus response, and now we need to move into 18 kilogram and then more than that. We have up to a 24 kilogram at our place, and that's a tall order. Not too many people are going to need that, but there could be a lot of value to 18 kilogram. We have some of those there, and they work great for a lot of great things. So yes, in the future, soon we'll be moving up. We're signed up. You could. Oh yeah. It's open, man. The site is up. The site is up. We focus grouped it for the last couple of weeks. Absolutely, just I don't know, kind of obsessed over a bunch of details, and made sure that if we did miss anything, it was something sneaky and something not super important. And then now we're up. So phase 1 is like we mentioned, practice, demonstration. We'll help adjust whatever we need to adjust. Phase 1 can be whatever it is. If people stay in it and need some adjustments for weeks at a time or a month or so at a time, great. If someone is a really, really meticulous mover and they film their phase 1 warm-up list and they send it in and there's not much to do, then great. Phase 2 is what's next. And phase 2 is thick. There's a lot of stuff in there, and then down the road, phase 3 will be available, and that's not the kind of thing where you really even need to focus on phase 3. It'll be organic, and it'll make a shitload of sense when it's time. And we're really excited. We're really excited about it. This is where we can kind of like roll it out. We give away a lot. That movement library is second to none. I mean, there's over 130 videos in there. Not one of them is stupid or gimmicky or inaccurate. So now that we have a more of a private resource, we can really start turning the dials. We can really start like figuring this thing out and just developing some animals like we have on a more private side with people. So thank you. No, it's okay, Jim. It's only been one day. We got about 10 minutes left. If there's no other questions left, I'll talk for a couple minutes and then we'll jump off. Finish public assistance before moving on to this. They're not mutually exclusive, man. Good question. Public assistance is great. It's a great complement supplement. So if you get a couple of days, once you're through the phase 1, you get a couple of days of the primary program. If you want to put public assistance in there towards the end of the week, great. And like we mentioned also, public assistance heavier and heavier is still extremely effective, extremely progressive. Thank you. Look forward to it also. Thank you. And thanks, Luke. Oh yeah, convergence. Thanks, man. So I'm giving myself till the end of the month. We're not going to be irresponsible about it. We're certainly not going to be cavalier or irresponsible. But I also didn't want to change anything before we absolutely have to. Because if this thing shakes out, I think people are going to need a positive, hard weekend. I mean, I know that everyone here will. So we're going to give it till the end of the month. If if us as a free society are allowed collectively out of our houses, then we will not change a thing, and we're excited. We really, really hope we don't have to. But if we do have to, we will, and we'll just strategize it well, and it will be as soon after the current date as possible. But I'm allowing myself to I want to overthink the fuck out of that right now, and there's just nothing to do about it. So I'm just going to allow myself to put a pin in that for another half a week, and then we'll figure it out. But believe me, anyone that has either registered or inquired will know immediately what we are forced to decide. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you. And thank you, Chris. I mean, we have a donation link through the PayPal. You're welcome to do that. We sell some great things. Some of the soft goods we've made lately, I think, are really, really strong. And the remote development resource. If you're into training and you're doing something like that, the best way to support us is to support yourself. Like we want to make people pleased that they found us by helping them improve mentally, physically. Forever. So any of those ways are equally great, and we appreciate you asking. And thanks, Lou. Great. Thank you, Alec. So last thing before we jump, I didn't want to allow it an unsuitable topic to waste too much of your time, but it's important to address at least a little bit. Right now, with everything that's going on, we're being run aground by people that will never feel the repercussions of their decisions. Anyone in the political field, especially in a high-level decision-making position, anything like that, are not going to feel this. They may be stuck at home, they may be inconvenienced, but also let's put perspective on the homes they're stuck in. And it's very important to note that those in higher-level government are never going to hear our voices. They will never acknowledge our requests. And so we're really forced to choose between life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and blind obedience. It's a really ridiculous choice, and of course there are safety issues involved and things like that. But what we really boil down to is we either acquiesce and risk everything that all of us have built independently and collectively, or we don't. And, I suppose we sit somewhere in the middle. We err on the side of caution with our people all the time, always, whether there's a problem in the world or not. Anyone that's ever trained with us knows that we work extremely hard to make sure that they are brutal and also safe all the time. So this is a tough one for us because the reality is no one knows enough to be making the decisions that they're making, and the longer this goes on, the more obvious it becomes that the decisions are not about our health. They're about power, and they're about control, and they're about money, and that's a really sick, sad state of affairs. So I guess all I really wanted to put out there to you is do not let this derail you. If anything, this should be driving you. I stay consistent on a lot of things because it's what I enjoy doing. I don't use it as any type of ego trip or any type of judgment point on anyone else. I do what I do because it's what I enjoy doing. That's it. But I can tell you for a fact that every time I've gotten to train in the last month, I've appreciated it twice as much because I understand that what's happening right now is we are being made to be weak. We're forced to be fearful right now. And we either reject that or we accept it, and we fucking reject it. We understand there are certain things that we have to adjust, and we do, and we will, and we are. But fuck dying. There are people that are going to get taken out by this thing, and good people, and many that I've talked to that have responsible small businesses that timing is not their friend. They're either too small or, they're on the ropes anyway, and so, they don't get this free government bailout, and all of a sudden, 2 months from now, they're out of business. It is absolutely disgraceful. And when I try and talk to them, it's hard to even be reasonable and helpful in the ways that they're asking me to be, because it makes me angry, you know? So if we're going to die, it's going to be because we put this fucking thing in the ground. It's not going to be because the government kills us. And so I guess we wanted to share that with you from our perspective, and we also wanted to encourage you to figure out at least one way to improve yourself that you weren't doing already. Optimize this little bit of extra time you have, and if you're still working, be really thankful for it. Work twice as hard, knowing that that's just going to make you come out of this on the right side of history. That's what we're doing. We're working as hard as we can right now, and it's a little bit different than we usually would, but that doesn't make it any less valuable. And that was it. We want to gain ground, not lose ground when people try and pull the rug out from under us. We expect to be fucked with. We expect to lose ground, but we never concede that. We're never just going to roll over and allow someone to take advantage of us on a big scale or a small scale. And we encourage you to do that same thing. Thank you for your time. If you have any more questions about the remote development, please send them over. Jump on the site, take a look through, and hope you enjoyed. If you have any interest in a specific topic on these for the future, please ask. I enjoy seeing you all the time. I do not enjoy sitting here talking to myself for an hour. As a matter of fact, it's one of my least favorite things. But I really do enjoy the fact that we can reach hundreds and hundreds of people in a matter of an hour. And so we appreciate your assistance with this. Ask questions for next time. Help each other get through this project. And if you have any questions that relate to training, if you have any questions that relate to mindset, if you have any questions that relate to why we're different and why we're worth giving a shot, please ask, and I'll have someone answer besides me. See you all soon. Thank you.